but born of God. That's the man in our midst today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Well, brothers and sisters, with that being said, our minister is here, but I don't want to tarry no longer. Let's bring on our local minister, Minister Dahveed Muhammad, with a well round of applause. Salaam alaikum.
All praise is due to Allah, in the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is but one God, whose proper name is Allah. We thank Allah for all of His many wonderful gifts and blessings which He extends and bestows upon each one of us without measure. We're taught in the Holy Quran that if you were to try to number Allah's blessings, none of us could put some kind of limitation or limit or fixed amount on the number of blessings that we enjoy from Allah on a daily basis. And so some of us are mature enough to thank Allah for those blessings, but then there's so many blessings that we fall short to give Allah credit and thanks for and thanksgiving for. But we thank Allah for all of His many wonderful gifts and blessings. The greatest of His gifts and blessings is divine guidance, which always comes in the form of divine revelation. That divine guidance always comes in the form of divine revelation through the mouth of His prophets and the scriptures that they bring. So we thank Allah for all of those former messengers, prophets, and apostles. We thank Allah for Moses and all of the Israelite prophets in the Old Testament or the Torah. We thank Allah for Jesus and the disciples, His apostles, and we thank Allah for the Injil or the Gospel or the New Testament. We thank Allah for Muhammad and the Holy Quran. Peace be upon all of the worthy servants and messengers of Allah. But brothers and sisters, we know beyond any shadow of a doubt that if there was ever a people who ever lived who needed divine guidance, divine instruction, divine answers and solutions to the problems that we all suffer from on a daily basis, we know that black people in America and throughout the earth are a people in need of that divine guidance. And so we believe that Allah is all-seeing, all-knowing, and all-wise. And that if He could see the need of the people, the condition of the people and their needs 4,000 years ago, or 2,000 years ago, or even 1,400 years ago, then of course He can see the need of our people today in America and throughout the earth. And so while we thank Allah for those former messengers and apostles, we thank Allah over and over and over again, and we can never thank Allah enough with just mere words from our mouth for His divine intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the long-awaited Son of Man, who is prophesied to come from the east to the west. In the book of Matthew, Jesus talks about the coming of the Son of Man, coming from the east, like a light shining even unto the west, and finding a carcass, a dead people, once alive, once great, but now the remains of a once great people. But He said also that wherever the carcass is, the eagles will be gathered also. And so we thank Allah for the fulfillment of divine scripture and for coming among us, that long-awaited Mahdi of the Muslims, the Messiah of the Christians, the coming of the Son of Man. We thank Him for coming and for raising up a divine leader, teacher, and guide in our midst, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, one who crisscrossed America and the world and spent 44 years among us trying to raise us and to teach us and to guide us. And we thank Him for His hard work and effort dealing with us, a hard-hearted, stiff-necked, and rebellious people. Is everybody all right, brothers and sisters? A people easily led in the wrong direction, but very hard to lead in the right direction. And it's almost like a tug-of-war battle with our people, trying to pull our people out of the mud, trying to pull our people out of the fire, because even though we complain about it at work and complain about it at home, and we whisper about the white man and the enemy and what a shame it is, the injustice that we face. Even though we complain about this, we still kind of like the way it feels. So for a man to try to pull us out of the fire and we kind of like to wallow in the fire, in the mud, it's like a tug of war battle and a struggle. And so to do that for over 44 years means that you have to have a heart after the heart of God himself. And you have to love the people more than they hate their own selves. And so, 44 years to do this. Some of us, I think we've been here for about 44 minutes already, and some of us are already tired of sitting in a seat right now, let alone 44 years of working and striving among black people. And so we thank him, and we thank Allah for him, and we thank him for raising up and giving us one today who serves as a divine reminder, a true friend, a great helpmeet for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, an extension of love, grace, and mercy personified in our big brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is in their worthy and righteous names I greet you, my sisters and brothers. Once again, Assalamu alaikum. All praise is due to Allah, brothers and sisters. It is a very distinct and profound honor to be able to stand before you, the people of God, and to be able to represent the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught, as exemplified by that prime example in our midst today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm very honored to be his Buffalo representative, and I'm honored that you have come out today to hear what we have to say from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we have a lot to say, and we don't have a lot of time to say it in, but we have been given we have been blessed to be able to hear from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We have been given the transcript or bullet points, the talking points from the minister, the believers meeting that the minister spoke to us on a national webcast to the believers. It is 4 pages long, and I want every believer to be able to get a copy of it who may want it. The FOI, we have been studying this. We got it from National, and we've been studying this in FOI class, so I don't know if the MGT got it, but we want to make copies and make sure everybody gets a copy of these wonderful talking points of guidance from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. And I want to just let everybody know that we have a national believers business meeting coming up this coming Tuesday that will be coordinated by our brand new student national business director, Brother Harry Muhammad. And the first talking point that I want to mention from the minister is related to the business meeting that we have coming up on Tuesday. And the first thing that the minister mentioned to us was that all mosques will be poor that don't want to work. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I'm not leading you to a heaven where you won't have to work. And so we want to just get our minds right. There's a song out right now. I had to work up on a check to get my mind right. I had to leave that girl alone to get my mind right. And we just want to get our minds right, just to know and be prepared that this business meeting is not about a sit down. This is not a sit down mission or a sit down work, because the minister said that all mosques that don't want to work will be poor mosques. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I'm not leading you to a heaven wherein you won't have to work. But as a people, we have a collective engram. We have like an internal trigger mechanism left over from our slave experience, where we look at hard work as a curse or hard work as a hellish condition. And even today, when you ask us what kind of job we want, we say, I want a good job. Or we may say, I have a good job. Oh yeah, why is it a good job? because I don't have to do nothing. I sit on the phone, I answer a few phone calls, I got a nice cubicle, and I don't do nothing. So that's a good job to us, where we don't have to do anything, and we have been given a false image in our minds that hell is a place that you go in the ground and you have to work all day, and you have to grind at the millstone. And we have a picture of hell that's been given to us that equates hard work with a hellish condition, and we equate heaven with sitting on a cloud somewhere all day long with white chicken wings coming out your back, sitting on a white cloud, going through some pearly white gates, drinking white milk and white honey, and you're the only black thing in heaven. Everything white in heaven, and you're the only black spot in heaven, but it's a place that you go where you don't have to do no more work. And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to teach us that I'm not leading you to a heaven wherein you won't have to work, but anybody who does not want to work will be poor, and all mosques that don't want to work will be poor. And so we know that we need a whole lot here in Buffalo, New York. We know we need a building, a place that we can call our own place, where we can come in and leave whenever we want to leave. We can unlock the door and lock the door behind us whenever we want to leave, and nobody can come behind us and tell us that hurry up, we have somebody else coming in after you. And so we want our own place, to be able to hold our own functions, to be able to control the thermostat, turn the heat up and turn the heat down when we want to do that. And what's that? That we should have our own, because God blessed the child that's got his own. But we're not going to get our own with some type of attitude or mindset where we think we can come and sit down in a chair somewhere. But we have to go to work so we won't be a poor mosque. And we have to set some goals for 2015. And so we're looking forward to a business meeting, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the fish program is known as legendary for what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was able to do in becoming the #1 importer of fish, whiting H&G, from the crystal blue waters of South America. The crystal blue clear waters of South America, bringing whiting fish in, and black people really did not know too much about whiting fish. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Muslims introduced our people to whiting fish. Is that right or wrong? The Muslims introduced our people to the steak and take. Remember Scotty's Steakhouse up on Delavan, and you have what is called a Philly cheesesteak. That was invented and brought about by the Muslims under the guidance and teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We even invented a wholesome snack, wholesome sweets and snacks called the bean pie. Nobody ever knew what a bean pie was. This is an invention of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which only should teach us and show us that whenever Allah gives divine revelation, he unlocks the creative power and unlocks the creativity of a people, and that divine revelation is designed to elevate that people straight to the top of civilization. Did y'all hear what I said, brothers and sisters? Whenever divine revelation is revealed, the recipients of divine revelation, those who receive the revelation under Moses, the Torah, they call themselves Jews. When they received that divine revelation, which brought them out of the caves and hillsides of Europe, those who followed that divine revelation, those who ate a certain dietary law, those who lived a certain way with marriage and family. Is everybody all right? Don't ever tell me that you don't have to follow a certain dietary practice in order to be obedient to the will of God. You should never be fooled to think that you don't have to follow a dietary law, because whenever divine revelation was given, there was a dietary component contained in divine revelation of what to eat and what not to eat. And so those who followed that law, who lived a certain way, who were strict, those are the ones that began to elevate and were placed on top of civilization.
Go ahead, that's right.
So those who call themselves Jews, when you think about who's the top in science, think about who's the top in medicine, who's the top in research, who's the top in literature, who is the top movie directors, and who are the top writers in the world, who are the top lawyers in the world, who are the top in law and banking and finance. Talk to me, brothers and sisters. It is not an accident that those who call themselves Jews have risen to the top in the world. It is because they received divine revelation, and divine revelation is the thinking of God, insight from God into human nature, which if you use it in the right way, it gives you access to be able to master yourself and to master the laws of nature. It gives you keys and insights into the laws of creation, which are all around us. Is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
And it allows you and I to be resurrected and to be elevated and placed on top of civilization. And so whenever you receive that, the desert Arabs of 1400 years ago, they received divine revelation through Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with the Holy Quran 1400 years ago. But before their revelation, they were in a state of Jahiliyyah. Jahiliyyah means intense darkness. They were superstitious. They were drunkards. They were idol worshipers, idolaters. They were sexist. They would bury their daughters alive because they wanted to have a firstborn child that would be a son. But if there was a firstborn who was a female, they would bury the daughter alive. So they were completely backwards, because anybody that would take a woman or a woman child, is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
And Allah, we're taught that the woman, the female, is a mercy and a grace from God given to man, that a man can extend himself through time so he can be there at the end of time. He is a woman is undeserved kindness and mercy to a man. And so anybody that would take a woman child and bury that child is somebody who is in need of divine revelation. The condition of the desert Arab was so terrible. They were divided into tribes and different sects, S-E-C-T-S. They were divided and would argue and bicker among each other. And so that condition is very similar to our condition today. But once they received divine revelation, then they had insight into science and mathematics. In fact about it, the word algebra is an Arabic word, because you could never even perform algebraic functions and equations. You can't do those kind of functions with Roman numerals. You can't multiply with Roman numerals. So right now we have an Arabic numeral system, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is called the Arabic numeral system. So right now the present world of science and mathematics has borrowed from the Arab world, borrowed from the divine revelation and advancements in science that the desert Arabs received 1400 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And so sometimes when you call a technical or tech support, you don't hear an English accent on the other line, on the other end of that telephone. You hear a foreign accent because these people are very advanced in mathematics and science. They're very advanced in computers. They're very advanced in science and medicine. And it was the Moors, the black Moors, the black Muslims who went up into Spain and conquered Spain for 700, 800 years. That's why when you look at the Spanish, Spain is in Europe. The Spanish are Europeans, but in your mind you think about the Spanish as being a darker skinned kind of European, because the black man lived among them for 700, 800 years in Europe, and they brought science and mathematics and cartology, map making, which allowed Christopher Columbus and allowed these Caucasians to understand that the world was not flat, but the world was in fact round. So it opened the gateway to the rest of the world, because they thought the world was flat, and the European, before the Renaissance. Is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
Renaissance means re-enlightenment.
That's right.
Nascent means light, and re means to do over again. So the Renaissance was the re-enlightenment, the reawakening of Europe. But before Islam came to Europe, they called it the Dark Ages. They called it the feudal system, where they were backwards and living in darkness. And so Islam through the Moors came up into Europe and led to a Renaissance, where Michelangelo and Da Vinci and all of these artists and scientists and people were able to get knowledge from the Muslim world, and they began to have a Renaissance. And the only reason I'm saying that is to back up and reinforce my initial point, which is that whenever divine revelation comes, it's designed to take you and I straight to the top. So we can't minimize or take lightly what we have received from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We can't take lightly what we are receiving from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's designed to take us to the top. Some of us have been in this work for 20, 25 years, 30 years plus, 10 years. And we're waiting for somebody else to sit us in heaven at once. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, sit yourself in heaven at once. So we all have to get up and get busy, brothers and sisters. We don't have to ask what needs to be done. We just need to get up and do something for ourselves. We can see, all praise is due to Allah. We can see that the present world is shutting down. We can see that the present world has no jobs, no industry for black men and women. We can see that Pharaoh has already let us go. So I really love the way that Brother N.O.I titled his lecture, where we have read in the Bible where Moses goes to Pharaoh and says, Pharaoh, let my people go. But to switch it around, Brother N.O.I said, oh, my people, let Pharaoh go. Because he's already let us go. And we're holding on, kicking and screaming. We're just like that Jennifer Holliday song, which was redone by Jennifer Hudson, which she talked about, you know, there's nowhere I ever go. No way. I'm not living without you. I don't want to be free. I'm staying, and you're gonna love me. Even if it kills me, you're gonna make white people love you and I. And so we're just like Jennifer Holliday, we're just like Jennifer Hudson, like a woman in a bad relationship. Talk to me, brothers and sisters. Black people in America is like a woman in a bad relationship. Sometimes no matter how much you try to tell that woman, how much you try to convince her, listen, you need to leave that no good Negro alone. He's no good for you. But the more you try to tell her sometimes, the more it's like you are actually pushing her into the arms of that no good man. Sometimes you just have to just leave her alone and let her realize for herself. Because the minute you say it, all of a sudden now, you suspect now. So why are you all up in mine now? Why don't you mind your own business? You just jealous of us. You jealous of what we got. But you're saying this, you're saying it with a whistle because there's space in your mouth where teeth used to be, because you got a no good man that's living in your mouth like a dentist, punch you in the mouth on Monday, slap you in the face on Tuesday, throw you down the stairs on Wednesday, karate chop you in the back of the head on Thursday, then on Friday talking about I love you though. See, I love you so much. This what you made me do. So you made me because I love you so much. And then a foolish woman will be convinced that, well, see, that's the passion, that's his passion, and overlook that. And so black people are like this. They shoot Trayvon Martin down, they shoot Jordan Davis down, they shoot Tanisha McBride down, they chokehold Eric Garner, they kill Michael Brown and kill another one in Milwaukee last week, another one in Missouri 2 weeks ago. So they're killing young black men every day of the week, but we don't always hear about the death and the killing of young black men across America because they don't always get publicized. But they do this every day of the week. And so, you know, black people, we have been put into a position where we're going to have to fight back.
Right.
That's what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said. Did he say that?
Yes, sir. Yes, he did.
But he also said that I don't want you going on social media saying anything stupid.
That's right. That's right.
You just
That's right.
say, wow.
That's right.
Say, I heard what the minister said. Wow. Don't go on social media. The media is not our friend. No matter what you say of truth, the media will twist your words and use it against you and take a 30-second sound bite to make you seem like a terrorist or a criminal when you are in fact crying out from the pain and the hurt of a people who have been despised and rejected in America.
Right.
So I heard Pastor Pridgeon on the radio last week talking about how the Buffalo Police Department gets $650,000 a year to patrol the Buffalo Municipal Housing Authority projects across Buffalo. He said, but they're doing a terrible job. So they broke up the BMHA police BMHA police, housing police, and now the Buffalo police get $650,000 a year to patrol Langfield, to patrol the Perrys, to patrol all of BMHA. But Pastor Pridgeon was saying that, you know, if it's not working, you got to look at some other solution. He said it's not personal. It's not against an organization. It's not against any people, but it's looking at it to make a correction for the benefit of the people. And he was so heartfelt about this, and it seemed like he was about to cry because he said that I came from the projects. A lot of my constituents come from the projects, and I always go back to the projects. So it's a very close and sensitive matter for Pastor Pridgeon. But whenever you talk about, that's over $500,000 a year. Whenever you start talking boldly like that, you're getting in the way of somebody's money. And when you have a police union, when you have a city workers unions that back the mayor, that back the campaigns of politicians, then you have to be a free and independent kind of politician in order to speak truth to power where you don't have to worry about the backlash. But there's already a backlash. Now they want to get him on Channel 2 News and trip him up over unsolved homicides. And then they want to badger him and question him about why are there so many unsolved homicides. He said, listen, I want to be clear about this. I'm not the police force. The Common Council does not go out in the street to solve cases. That's for the police to do. And before he could get his answer out, the reporter kept badgering and well, when are you going to talk about this? So they already have set the wheels in motion. Because whenever you stand up to speak truth on behalf of the poor, despised and rejected masses of the people, then they want to crucify you. They want to make a public example out of you. And they want to make a public example so painful that all of the other cowardly, chicken-hearted, cowardly Negroes will fall in line because they don't want that to happen to them what's happening to Pastor Pridgeon right now. It's designed to kowtow and to herd the leadership, the weak-kneed, rabid-blooded, chicken-hearted leadership, and to herd them into submission. So they already have started this. But we say that if the police can't patrol, the FOI can patrol. Is that right or wrong? And we don't have to have all praises due to Allah. We don't have to have no tasers or no nightstick or... Have you seen what these police ride around with? They got a Glock 9mm with 18 or 15 bullets in a clip. Then they got a shotgun also in the car. They got tasers, they got mace, they got billy clubs. All of this so that they can use it as a weapon against our people. And they don't waste no time. They pull up and they shoot first and ask questions later. You can ask Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old in Cleveland, Ohio. Ask his 14-year-old sister. Ask his parents, his family, if they shoot first and ask questions later. We're not trying to exaggerate this. They shoot first and ask questions later. They drove up 2 seconds later, they shot Tamir Rice. Then his 14-year-old sister, seeing her 12-year-old brother on the ground, his life oozing out of his body. Any one of us would have responded in a natural way. So when she gets hysterical and when she starts to go off, they handcuff the 14-year-old girl and put her in the back of a squad car. This is what they're doing to our babies, our sons and daughters, our nephews and our nieces. Where's the outcry about this? So we don't need all of this. They want to try to tell us not to chasing our own children, but you got a nightstick and a billy club. You can't tell me that I can't chasing my own child, that I can't take a belt to my child and you walking around with a 9mm, you walking around with a shotgun. Who is that for? You got a shotgun and a taser and all these heavy military weapons for our children, and you telling me I can't slap my son in the face? You trying to tell me I can't take a switch to my child? They gave more Adrian Peterson of the Minnesota Vikings got into more trouble for spanking his own son with a switch than Darren Wilson got into trouble for shooting Michael Brown. Talk to me, brothers and sisters. Adrian Peterson was suspended from the team, loss of pay. Meanwhile, Darren Wilson is given $400,000 in legal support and support from white folks who want to give him a pat on the head and say, "Job well done, do it again." And then he got a 6-figure salary paycheck to go and do an interview on television. So he became a millionaire. He's almost a millionaire for killing a young black boy, Michael Brown. Meanwhile, we can't even get black people to give us a nickel a day. All praises due to Allah. George Zimmerman raised almost $800,000. Online support, people pressing the pay button. This man got almost $800,000 for killing Trayvon Martin. It's a message being sent to white America. Just like whenever you announce that it's deer season or salmon season or bass season or duck season or turkey season. Whenever you announce that it's turkey season, that means you can hunt turkeys, you can kill turkeys, and we won't fine you for that. But don't get caught hunting bears or turkeys or deer out of season. That's why they announce what season it is. So they are announcing to the world that is open season on black men and women. And you won't be punished for this. Matter of fact, you might be able to make a quick dollar off of killing a young black man. So now George Zimmerman is painting now. He's an artist and a painter. Now he's painting portraits of Trayvon Martin. And one of his portraits sold for $30,000. We trying to get a few $1,000s to knock a building down. We trying to get a few $1,000s to buy some farmland, to grow our own food. We trying to get some charity, some number 2 poor or Savior's Day gift. Meanwhile, Creflo Dollar trying to get $65 million to get a private jet so he can fly around and bring the gospel to the world. But I don't, but if his congregation is able to do that, but how can we accept that? It's like George Zimmerman, somebody bought one of his paintings for $30,000 so they can hang it on the wall. That's like when you kill a rhinoceros or you kill a water buffalo. You take the head, you get the head stuffed, and you put it on the wall as a trophy, as a reminder that I got that water buffalo when I was in Africa on safari. And the sick-mindedness of white folks. So this is all of this, we're saying that we don't need any weapons to patrol the projects. We don't need any weapons to patrol the neighborhood where our people live. We don't even need the whole $650,000. Just give us $250,000 for the year. $250,000 is $250,000. Don't sit around and say we can't do it. Don't sit around and say it's impossible, because we did it before in the Shoreline Apartments. Is that right? The Shoreline Apartments was infested with crime and crack cocaine and prostitution. And Brother Eric and Brother Neil and Brother Glenn and the FOI went down to the Shoreline projects. They gave us an office. We had a headquarters down in Shoreline. And we partnered with Rocco Dina. We partnered with a security company that had a license, and we were able, by Allah's permission, to clean up the Shoreline Apartments. Without a gun, without a taser, without a billy club. But we had a brother like a Brother Neil. We had a brother like a Brother William Fareed. Brother William Fareed was known to jump out of trees and jump off balconies with fatigue pants on and jump boots on. He was known to come down he loved to do that kind of stuff. And jump off a balcony and land between the two people fighting and break up the fight. Some people, Islam brings out the militant propensity of the black man. And you start patrolling those areas and you give people a knowledge of themselves. Give them a sense of love and dignity and respect for themselves. That's the only thing that's missing. And so, we were able to clean up the Shoreline by Allah's permission and did such a good job. They said, well, we don't need y'all no more. Sometimes you become a victim of your own success. And then they said, well, we can make it a gated community. We can put cameras up. So we think you all should take a pay cut. We don't do it for the money, but men need to feed their families. Men need to take care of their wives. Men need to pay for their children's education and for food, clothing, and shelter. So what's wrong with a black man, a young FOI, wanting to go out and work an honest day's work to feed his family? They said nothing stops a bullet like a paycheck. Nothing stops a bullet like a steady job. So we have to create jobs so we can give our people a sense of dignity and pride and stand our people up on the square of truth. So we're going to have to help Pastor Pridgeon out. Because, we have issues and concerns in the city where we live at. And the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, we are the arms and legs of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. He don't need us to shut the mosque down and turn into a study group and we all sit at home and read lessons at home. And we can go online and be armchair, couch, love seat Muslims. Sit on the couch and be a Muslim at home on the couch. Sit at home and dialogue by yourself in a room by yourself. That's why whenever we go and we read the Holy Quran, we have to say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. We have to say, I seek the protection of Allah from the accursed Satan. Even in a room by ourselves with our prayer rug and our Holy Quran on our lap. Because Satan comes up in between the revealed word of God and comes between a man and his heart. And creeps up into the thinking. So we have to seek refuge from the evil whisperings of a slinking devil who whispers into the hearts of men from among the jinn and the men. We can't afford, we need a sense of community. We need an ummah, because whenever I see you, you remind me to stay on my deen. Whenever you see me, I'm a reminder to you to stay on your Surat al-Mustaqim. Whenever I see you, I'm reminded that I can't just do what I want when I want, but if I can stay away and I don't have to see you, then it's easier for me to do wrong behind closed doors. But even when I do wrong behind closed doors, when I come and I see you, I want to tighten up and straighten it up, because I can't even be around the believers when I'm dirty and wrong as two left shoes. I can't do wrong and be around the believers. I can't be wrong and stand before God. That's why Adam and Eve had to run and hide behind a tree when God was coming. They had a fig leaf on, but it wasn't enough. They had to put the fig leaf on and go run behind a tree. So whenever God comes, he had to call and say, where are you, Adam? I had to run and hide because I was naked. God said, who told you you were naked? Why do you have shame now? So they had to hide behind a tree. And the Honorable Minister Farrakhan broke it down for us that the tree is something that is deeply rooted, that grows high but has deep roots. It means that you are hiding behind some noble reason or some noble cause. You're hiding behind that as an excuse for your own weakness and wrongdoing. So when he called Adam, Adam told God that, it wasn't my fault that I ate from the tree. It was that woman that you gave me. So indirectly, he's blaming God. God gives you a blessing and a helpmeet and a mercy and a woman. You want to blame God for giving you a woman. So your slick, surreptitious, snake-like thinking, you want to blame God for your weakness and wrongdoing. Is that right or wrong? And that is the formula, that is the mathematical formula for what happens when we engage in wrong. All of this has been spelled out and mapped out by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. We don't have to get up here and try to reinvent the wheel and make up our own teaching. He talked about the Day of Atonement, a healing for a sin-sick world. At a time when the President of the United States of America was committing adultery with a young intern named Monica Lewinsky. Talk to me, brothers and sisters. I want to talk about Bill Cosby. Look at your own presidents. But the minister spelled it out. He said that when you do wrong, because you remember Slick Willie? Yes, sir. Look at me. Listen. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Monica Lewinsky. There's always that woman. So the minister spelled it out. He said that whenever you do wrong, you always have to cover, then hide, then blame. That's right. You do wrong, then you have to cover, then hide, then blame. That's right. Think about this in your own life. You do wrong, then you have to cover the fig leaf, to cover your private parts. That's right. Then that's not enough. You got to go and run and you hide behind a noble reason for why you hiding and why you did wrong. That's right. Then you got to blame somebody for your mess up, for your wrongdoing and your own weakness. It's somebody else's fault for this. But the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, he told us that whenever you leave, whenever you abort the process and you run away and hide, when you leave the mosque, when you leave the work and the mission, it is because you got tired of the seemingly endless struggle to overcome and to self-improve your own self. You got tired of that. So you have to run and then you have to blame somebody. See, it's because they not right. See, it's because how they talk to me. I don't like the way that he had talked to me about that. I don't like the way that Brother Dahveed had talked to me, because he had talked to me wrong, I think. But how do white folks talk to you? How do your boss talk to you? How does your employer, your supervisor talk to you? How do white people in America, how do they talk to us? How do they talk to the President Barack Obama of the United States? How do they talk to us? So we want to blame somebody. I don't like the way that she had looked at me. She ain't had to look at me like that. So I'm going to run and stay home. But you want to blame it. But in reality, your own wrongdoing is to blame for. In reality, it is because you smoking cigarettes at home in secret. In reality, it's because you got a girlfriend, you got a boyfriend, and we don't believe in that. We believe in marriage and strong families. So now you're fornicating and committing adultery and doing all kind of wrongdoing, but you want to blame the ones that's struggling to stay in the process. It's their fault. So now, whatever it is, you smoking crack again now. You doing heroin again now. You drinking alcohol again now. And you can't come around the believers smelling like alcohol. You drinking alcohol on Saturday night, you know it's going to come out your pores the next morning. So now you got to stay at a distance until all the alcohol evaporates. But your own hands will bear witness against you. Your eyes will bear witness against you. Your skin will bear witness against you. Because you can't engage in wrongdoings. You got all kind of reefer marks on your fingertips. You got all kind of nicotine stains on your hands. You try to spray a breath freshener in your mouth, but it's coming out your pores. You breathe and you smell like a distillery the next day. So you can't come around the believers. But why don't you just admit that you're weak as hell? Yes, sir. And stop trying to blame these poor believers that's trying to struggle and stay in the process. All praise is due to Allah. But we're gonna pay for our rebellion. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said this is the day of judgment. Come on! Is that right or wrong? Yes, you can't talk about God, but you don't talk about the judgment. What kind of chicken leg, chicken wing, chicken footed preacher want to talk about the Bible, but you don't talk about the day of judgment? You only want to talk about how God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. But how can God love this world and then talk about the judgment and destruction of this world in the same book that you're reading from? There's no need for a judgment if God loves the world. But we've been taught that the world that God so loved is the world that he desires to bring in, not this world. So the world he desires to bring in. But you got these prosperity gospel preachers.
Yes, sir.
Is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
And they sound like Jay-Z, or they sound like one of these rappers trying to floss.
That's right.
How are you cash money millionaires? Young money. How are you going to the club? You just got cash? Throw some more. You just got paid? The fast you spend it, the more you spend it, the faster it go. Bad, all on the floor. Throw some more. throw some more. So they're talking about make it worth my while. This today you might be able to retire. If you do what I want you to do, I'll throw hundreds. They spending hundreds, throw some more. So you throwing hundreds and throwing dollars and got black women strippers on the floor picking up money. And every other song is about stripping. The black woman now thinks that stripping is a legitimate career option. Talk to me, brothers and sisters. You got Usher talking about, I don't mind if you dance on a pole. That don't make you a hoe. So now young 12 and 13-year-old girls in their mind is like, wow, stripping on a pole don't make you a hoe. I don't mind if you stay out till 3, as long as you coming home with me. I'm proud to call you my B. This is Usher, one of the top, most popular singers. Talking about it don't matter if you dance on a pole. So all of these songs about stripping and throwing money and making it rain. Meanwhile, you can't afford to get a bus pass to get from point A to point B. Meanwhile, they want to foreclose on your house. Meanwhile, you 2 car payments behind and struggling to put 2 quarters together. We ain't got no money to blow in the black community. How the hell we got all these songs talking about making it rain and money to blow and, you know, and I'm going to keep making it rain until I run out, but that'll never happen. We ain't got no money like that. Is that right or wrong?
That's right.
We struggling just to get a job.
That's right.
We the last ones hired and the first ones fired. So somebody is putting a thought or planting a seed in our mind, in our heart, about some prosperity in America that we have never experienced. And they got these rappers and these entertainers like a modern day minstrel show, like a modern day blackface, where they parade these stars and entertainers out to try to convince young people, if you just stay on your grind, if you stay on your hustle, then you're gonna make it in America as a stripper or as a rapper. But you're not gonna make it. America's going to hell on a roller skate. America's falling faster today than she was yesterday. America's falling apart. Any blind man can see that. Yes, sir. You don't. If you were, you don't have to be a scientist or a rocket scientist to see that. America is coming apart, and so they have these entertainers and this image that they are trying to trick us with, and we just need to follow sure guidance today, because there's a price to pay for our deviation. Whatever we send out, the minister said, whatever we send out is coming back to us immediately. Whatever we send out of negativity or wrong in the day of judgment is coming back to us. Grace is over. The grace was this man in our midst for nearly 60 years now, giving us the 8 steps of atonement, giving us an atonement process to reconcile and form a more perfect union, one toward the other and one toward God. That's the grace and the mercy, but grace and mercy has run out because we have stuck our fingers in our ears and we have ignored the atonement process. Especially, you know, God says that the judgment would take place in the house of God first. So we definitely have to quicken the pace to make sure that we are not in danger of the judgment. We have to use that atonement process. Is that right?
Yes, right.
We can't walk around giving each other the icy stare, the ice grill. We don't know what we did. What did I do wrong? You know what you did.
Yes, sir.
I don't know.
Come on.
You know. We want people to guess. We want people to read our minds. You know what you did 5-7 months ago. I don't remember what I did 5 months ago. How can I remember what I did to you wrong? Because when you came into the fish sub sale, you greeted everybody but me 5 months ago. So I didn't realize that I didn't greet you. I had an armful of subs. I'm sorry about that. I think you did it on purpose. So you want to hold it against me, but you want God to forgive you. All of us are in need of forgiveness. All of us are in need of mercy. We're all in need of grace. How are you going to be so hard-hearted and unwilling to forgive your crazy brother and sister, but you need God to forgive you for what you did yesterday, let alone 5 years ago or 5 months ago? So we have to use that atonement process. We can't expect people, you should know already what you did to me. Because the first step of atonement is you got to point out the wrong. That's what a man and a woman do. We talk to each other man to man, face to face. And that's the problem we have become, or we're trying to turn this into something that, it's something, make it into something that we want it to be. But this is about, man, the restrictive law, the general orders. This is about, man, the law of God and guidance that we have received. You want to come and reform it and reshape it into something else and make weak soldiers and a weak military structure and a weak nation and a weak foot soldiers to be able to do the work that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan needs us to do. We want to reshape it and make it into a club. This is not a club. This is not a woman's club or a girl's club or a boy's club. We want to make it into a lax. We want to make it more lax. That's not what we came up. That's not our training. And we would hit the door and see the national. Brother, we come in, we salute the flag. Then you see brothers cut corners to their chair. And you see the brothers stand up on posts and they sit down in succession when they sit back down. You see everybody with the right hand over the left because you want your strength to control your weakness. You see, brothers and sisters, man, this is the structure that we came to. Salute all officers and standards not kicked. We're not all about big eyes and little U's, but we would be in the mosque when the captain would walk in, we would all stand up. We would walk past and we could sit back down. When the minister would walk in, we would all stand up. Come to attention, and when they walk past, we could sit back down. So we had a structure that was unalike, and the unalike is what makes you and I attractive. Unalike attracts and like repels. We can't be like the world and expect to attract the world. We're in the world, but not of the world. We are in the world, but not of the world. Paul said, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. You can't come a Negro and stay a Negro. You got to come and become a soldier, become a foot soldier in the cause of Allah. And with the few numbers that we had, we turned the city of Buffalo upside down. It's not for you or for me, but it's for what we do is for Allah and His message and our love of the truth that He gave to us, that resurrected us and changed our lives. Is that right or wrong? So this is bigger than me. It's bigger than you. And you're not holding back on Brother Dahveed. You're not holding back on Brother Franklin. Why would you want to hold back on Brother Franklin? What did he do to you? Why would you want to hold back on Brother Dahveed? What did I do to you? Only thing I tried to do was try to make Savior's Day a success. The only thing I tried to do was try to, put something in motion, and after motion then comes order. The only thing I'm trying to do is hold it together after these weak-hearted, chicken-hearted people ran away and left us all with the weight and the burden of trying to do this work. What the hell, you leave us alone? We got all kind of senior citizens and young boys. And the ones that ran away sitting at home talking about, man, but Dahveed, man, you know, did you hear the latest on Dahveed?
Come on.
You a man at home gossiping like a woman. You at home, and brothers and sisters, you may not know it or not, but you cannot, there's a price to pay for that. Allah may not show you right away what is happening to these people, but you're not going to make God a liar. You're not going to make the Holy Quran a liar. That if Allah calls you to his way and you incline heavily to earth, that he will bring another people in your place and he will punish you. You can't flip that around into a lie to say that Allah won't punish you for walking away and inclining heavily to earth and put your own spin on it. You can't say, well, let's not judge them. We're not judging anybody. The judgment is already written in the Holy Quran. The standard bearer is the Quran and the scripture of God that already has been revealed. We're not putting you out. You put your own self out. We're not judging you. You came under the judgment when you went against what God said to do. And I got this, man, we got to be watchful at night during the times of meeting. So, man, I got to be watchful. I don't know. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said you could turn devil overnight. A 24-hour night or a nighttime, a dark phase in your life. You can turn devil or hypocrite overnight. So I got to I'm trying to keep you honest and you got to keep me honest. Still, shopping still. Men make men, women make women. So, you know, we only as strong as the weakest link. So I can't let you be a weak link standing next to me. I got to I want to know. Brother, where were you for Savior's Day? How many tickets did you sell? How many ads did you sell? How many people did you invite? You want to hurry up and have a business meeting about, well, how did we do with Savior's Day? Well, you know how we did. How did you do? Ask yourself how you did with Savior's Day. How many tickets did you sell? None. Did you buy a ticket for your own self? No. Did you sell an ad? No. Did you buy an ad for your own self? So that you can take that, you can tell how we did with Saviors. They just ask yourself how you did. Did you pass out any flyers or handbills? No, I did not. So that's your business meeting right there. But we still, all praises due to Allah. The quickest ones that want to have the meeting and add everything up are the ones that didn't help at all. We don't need a lot of dead weight around here. We did it by Allah's permission with the help of Allah. Made it into the Final Call newspaper with our black tie event. And I went to a meeting yesterday afternoon and I showed our people, I showed them Sam Radford in the Final Call, and you know, people they all wanted a copy of that. Oh, let me have that. So it's good to see local events covered in the Final Call newspaper, but we won't be covered in the Final Call by sitting down and doing nothing. It's only when we do something that we can get recognition and coverage. So we need to do more works, more good works, so we can get in the Final Call again. And when we go out among the people, we can open up to that page. See, this is our brother Sam Radford. He's in the Final Call. This is our sister Janine and sister Zaima. They in the Final Call. So they say, okay, it gives more support for the paper. But, you know, we just have a lot of work to do, brothers and sisters. And, you know, we want to make sure that in this day and time that we get these talking points, these bullet points from the ministers, the Tuesday Believers meeting, and follow this guidance that he's given to us, because we don't know how long he's going to be with us, and every word that proceeds forth from his mouth is like a fountain of living waters that we need to drink, take a long drink from. And so we want to make sure we have it And he, is everything that he's saying it in advance of it actually happening. And then when the word comes to pass, we know that his word does not go out and come back void. They were saying about Paul, some of those who wanted to kill Paul and execute Paul, one of them stood up and said that if this man be before us of himself, then we don't have to worry about what he's saying. But if he's before us of God, then we might find ourselves fighting with God. And so you know a man is with God when he says a thing and then it comes to pass. And so we have to be especially mindful that in this discussion, as we wrap it up, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Allah is going to drive the Caucasian to do more and more evil to us.
That's right.
For what purpose? In our rebellion against Moses and Aaron, he is sending fiery serpents, which only means angry Caucasians. He said this several weeks ago, and we're seeing this every day. The anger of white folks, the anger of Caucasians is heating up more and more, is at the boiling point, is about to boil over. And so the fiery serpents represents angry white people. And so it's because of the rebellion of the children of Israel in the days of Moses and Aaron. But Moses and Aaron and the children of Israel and Pharaoh are only a sign of our sojourn in North America for over 400 years. Whenever you read about Moses and Aaron and the children of Israel, you're reading about your and my experience under a modern day Pharaoh. That is a book of prophecy. Prophecy is something written in the past that is a prediction of something taking place in the future. Is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
So whenever you read about Moses and Aaron and Pharaoh and the children of Israel, put your own self, you gotta, it's like, you gotta, if the shoe fits, you gotta wear that shoe. So put your own self in the place. And I just want to read this and we can end out, but this is these fiery serpents I talked about in the book of Numbers in the Old Testament, chapter 21, verses 4, 5, 6, and 7. And this is after Jehovah or God gets the children out from under Pharaoh. You would think that would be a good thing to get out from under Pharaoh. But it says this. It says, and they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom, and the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. They were liberated, free, but along the journey, the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. So the way and the length of time and the effort and the struggle, because of that, the soul of the people was discouraged. And verse 5 says, and the people spake against God and against Moses. Wherefore have you brought us out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth this light bread. So why did you bring us out from Pharaoh, Moses? We out here in the wilderness, there's no food, there's no water, and we tired of this light bread. We want a different kind of bread. So how? So this is the children of Israel speaking against God, speaking against Moses. They began to complain about the way that they were being led, and if this reminds you of anybody living or dead, it's not a coincidence. They began to complain against the agent of their liberation. And then in verse 6 it says, and the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much of the people of Israel died. Because of their murmuring, because of their complaining, because their soul was discouraged. Now he sends fiery serpents, which really means angry white folks, to bite the people. and many of them died. So we have to look at this, and we have to see our own condition as we see many of our people dying at the hands of police, at the hands of each other. We're going to see an increase. We're going to see an increase in this, but we can never say that we were not warned about this. We cannot say that we did not have a faithful warner to give us a guidance and a warning so we can navigate and walk through a rough time that we're entering into right now. We have had a faithful warner and a guide in the Honorable Minister Farrakhan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But we just don't want to, if the shoe fits, you wear it. We don't want to have to wear this shoe of those who were discouraged in their hearts. Why you fall out? You fall out the ranks because you're discouraged in your heart. Why have you stopped working? Because you're discouraged in your heart. And those who were discouraged because of the way and the approach and the way that the guide that we're being guided, now they begin to speak against the God who delivered them and speak against the messenger, the warner, and the guide who is the agent of deliverance on behalf of God. So this is something for us to think about, brothers and sisters, especially if we're prone now. We started to become, it's a habit. We formed a habit of complaining a lot. And in reality, we are really speaking against God, but we don't want to admit that at first. We want to, we're really complaining against and speaking against God. And we have to be very careful about that, because the Bible says that in the last days, the fool in his heart would say that there is no God.
Yes, sir.
And since we know that the serpent or the devil, we meet him in the book of Genesis telling a lie about God. He didn't waste any time. He told a lie about God. That is the biggest and worst lie that could ever be told. And so the lie is, in the last days, the fool in his heart would say that there is no God. And the fool in his heart would say, well, where is God? Why hasn't God weighed in on the current events and what's going on, what's really going on? But the reality is that God is the author of the whole circumstance. He is the author of this. He's the master of circumstance. And he is using the plans of the enemy for his own good purpose. So all things work for the good for those who wait on the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. So this is working on behalf of God and the righteous. We just can't get discouraged and get upset and get our minds and hearts twisted, and where we lose faith and begin to think that there is no God. Turn our back on God and the work and the mission of God and the people of God. Because we know we can't afford to run away from this work and this mission, because Allah is above need of his creation. He does not need any one of us. We need him. We need his messenger. We need to be involved in the mission and the work for the purification of our own souls. He don't need us, we need him. All praise is due to Allah. So next time we think that we're going to withhold and think we're going to do some harm to Allah, I'll show Allah. I'll show his messenger. You don't harm, you can do Allah no harm. You sit on your hands, you're harming your own self. Because we are in need, we are complete but incomplete. And we're in need of divine mercy, divine guidance. So let's try to work to try to get that kind of guidance and mercy by going out and getting our people and calling our people to the truth, and calling our people and letting our people know about the time and what must be done. So brothers and sisters, I thank you for your time, your patience, for listening. I hope and pray to Allah something was said of help and benefit to us. And I greet you as I came before you once again. Assalamu alaikum.